Make every room your favorite room with O'Neill's Home Furnishings in Bethany. From lazy boy recliners and stylish sectionals to bedroom sets and dining tables built to last, we bring comfort and style together. Plus, enjoy free delivery, setup, and takeaway within 60 miles. Financing is available, subject to credit approval. Visit o'neillshomefurnishings.com or call 660-425-7200. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. O'Neill's, where great style meets everyday living.
Green Hills Insurance, LLC of Bethany is a locally owned and operated independent insurance agency providing coverage since 1996. They're licensed to operate in Missouri, Iowa, and Kansas, offering competitive rates with top carriers. They can insure a wide variety of risks, including home, farm, auto, boats, RVs, equipment, business owners, commercial buildings, bonds, and more. Located on the south side of the square in Bethany, stop by or give them a call at 660-425-7900. At Green Hills Insurance, if you need it insured, they've got you covered.
All right, so this is CF Rainey again here on Bulldog Sports TV, Sports Central. All of our interviews and studio shows under the heading of Sports Central, and those are all sponsored by Harrison County Community Hospital. We appreciate their sponsorship and all the sponsors, both businesses and families, that help us be able to get South Harrison athletics and events on Facebook and YouTube. And so I'm happy to be joined by Coach Kale Watson. And so Coach Watson is currently our athletic director as well as our varsity girls golf coach. Also coaches varsity girls basketball in the winter. But Coach, the golf season's kicked off, and I was looking back, and obviously I have some connection having a daughter who's also a senior to Abby Owens. And so looking back, I don't know if you know much of the history of South Harrison girls golf, but the 3-year run South Harrison girls golf is on has to be one of the best runs they've ever been on.
Yeah, kind of as I stepped into the position, made aware of some of the history in the past, but I would say over the last 3 years, this being our fourth, I feel like we've definitely kind of solidified who we are as a program, and definitely made a lasting mark, just in the legacy of South Harrison girls golf. And obviously a lot of that is due to the athletes that I've had. I've had good kids, great golfers, just good human beings that have kind of taken the program from where it started to obviously where it's at right now. And a lot of that credit goes to them and just the things that they've been able to do, or at least do what I've asked of all of them. So it's been fun. I don't know that 3 years ago, if you'd asked me, we'd be right here where we're at now. But as a coach, if you were sitting in my shoes, you'd like to think that that's a good spot to be. So I've been very, very blessed.
And so you returned Abby Owens, who comes back. This is her 4th year as a senior. You also have a couple other returning golfers, Ainsley Clint, I know, coming back, and that was on that varsity squad last year. And so Abby, in her tenure there, right? You all have been to state all 3 years that she's golfed up to this point, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Her freshman year she went as an individual, and then her sophomore year, junior year, we went as a team, and obviously she was competing as an individual as well. We've been very fortunate, just in the sake that as a golf coach, it's always great when you can go coach in the postseason. It's really fun when you take a kid. It's probably even more fun, I would say, if you ask any kid that's played golf here at South Harrison. It's probably the coolest experience they get is to do it as a team. And we've been very, very, very fortunate the last 2 years to get to do that, and honestly do it at a really high level where, we're not just there. Sometimes you get there and you're excited to just be there. When we get there, we've got something in mind in terms of trying to win the whole thing, or at least have a good showing while we're there.
And so, what was it first? Correct. What was it? 2 years ago first, and then last year as a team, 4th as a team.
Second place as a team last year.
As a team. Yeah. So you're replacing some girls. You lost some of those team members replacing. So talk maybe a little bit about this year's squad.
Yeah, like you said, we lost some pretty integral pieces from last year to this year. But I think the cool thing about that is, some of the girls that we have, at least two of them, aside from Ainsley and Abby, they were JV players, but they got to see how it was done at a high level. And, I think starting of the year, I was a little nervous for that. Like any coaches, when you lose some veteran leadership, you don't necessarily know how that's going to pan out. I would say Amber Criley and Berkeley Glenn and even Addie Polly, who decided to join this year, have stepped in. This is our first week of competition, but, we have those 3 weeks of practices. And I think when we started practices, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go. And I have been honestly pleasantly surprised. You know what you're going to get with Abby and Ainsley. They play golf in the summer, so they're very equipped when it comes to playing high school girls golf. But the other three have honestly just improved meet to meet. We've had 3 this week, and I've seen improvement every single meet. So now it's just about building upon the things that we can clean up going into next week and the rest of the season.
And so looking at the scores online, I have seen, right, you see some of those girls improve greatly, and I think that's someone who golfed in high school. I grew up golfing. I think my dad started me at 5 years old just because he loved it and wanted someone to go out on the golf course there in Albany with him. And so someone who'd been around it a long time, but someone just picking it up or that does it almost maybe as a hobby and then decided to go out here in school, those kind of improvements are huge, not just for them, and I'm sure they're enjoying it, but as you look to continue to do something, not just as a couple individuals, but as a team going forward.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that, I think especially for Amber, Berkeley, and Addie, your first meet, you're kind of trying to feel it out and kind of see how things are. And I would say into the second meet and definitely by the third one, I could tell a shift in their mindset just in terms of, hey, I'm not just here to play, I'm here to compete. And now you kind of start to see the mentality change. You see them grind out what could be a bogey, turn it into a par, or even a double bogey, turning that into a bogey. And in golf, that's what really matters. And I think that's been the coolest thing is to see their mentality shift. And I pride our golf teams on being very, very competitive, but also being good stewards of the game and understanding the rules. And I think that's the cool part. From the first meet to just the one we had last night, their mentality shifted. And, if you look at the team scores, the first one was, I think we shot a 196. And then you look to last night, we shot a 183. 10 to 12 strokes doesn't seem like a lot, but that means everybody's cleaning strokes up somewhere. And if they're starting to figure that part of it out, I think we're on the right path, at least moving forward as a golf team.
And so golf, one of those sports, you'd throw in track and wrestling. You obviously compete as a team and points and those things, but those are the 3 sports in high school. Really, there's opportunity for individuals to succeed and do things. In other sports, right, football and softball, basketball, baseball, you can be really good, but if you don't have that team support, it makes it tough to move ahead. And so looking at this year, obviously adding some newer players, but you still have those 2 that have come back that I'm sure are eyeing what they can do not only during the season and as a team, looking at conference districts and the hope, I'm sure, to make it back to state somehow.
Yeah, having Abby, she's a 3-time All-Stater, went second, fourth, fifth. I'm sure that's not the chronological order she'd like that to go in. So, I would like to think that she's vying for an individual state title. And Ainsley Clint, stepped into the varsity role last year and has drastically improved. Just last night, I think Abby shot 2 over and Ainsley was right on her heels with a 3 over. So when you have those 2 as your 1 and 2 kind of leading out in front, you'd like to think that that's going to kind of spurn them on in terms of individual success as well. And I think for Ainsley, she's got that year under her belt. Definitely looks more comfortable on the golf course. Has got the mental aspect of it figured out. We know that golf is probably more mental than it is physical. If anyone who's ever played the game, so I think in terms of individuals, I think those 2 are going to be obviously vying to get all state again. And I think the cool part about that is that the other ones that are on our team kind of see how they operate. They get to see the ownership that they have in their game, and I think that bleeds throughout the rest of the team. So as a coach, whether it's a team sport or an individual sport, it's about the Jimmies and Joes. And so having those two Jimmies and Joes, if you will, definitely make my job a lot easier in terms of um, just keeping us competitive as the season wears along.
And so, Coach, we'll kind of switch gears here a little bit. You're also athletic director. You've served in that role for a number of years, and so South Harrison, just our fall sports. Number one, Abby's part of that senior class that is a really deep senior class as far as on both sides, boys and girls sports. And so we had a softball team, right? You're replacing quite a few girls in golf, but a softball team that returned every single player that was on the team, a football team that only lost 2 players. Volleyball is one of those sports that's replacing a lot, kind of like golf, but just overall looking at South Harrison athletics, just focusing on the fall sports, kind of give us a broad overlook of what you see.
Yeah, like you said, if you start with football, they're bringing a bulk of everyone back, and obviously a very senior laden team, had a great season last year. I would be shocked if they're not vying for a conference championship, just in terms of mentality and the way they go about their process. I know Coach Schoening very well. He does a fantastic job with the football program, and those boys obviously played a really good game last Friday night, and I expect the exact same thing this Friday against Putnam County. Softball, perennial powerhouse. Obviously having been to the Final Four a few years back, and we're pretty close last year. Again, like you said, they bring everybody back. Another team that's just chock full of great talent. Again, you got your seniors, and Coach Fitzpatrick. I think his reputation precedes him. He's won everywhere he's gone. So I think that's a big thing just in terms of having someone in that role. And, like you said, volleyball is rebuilding, but I think again, the nice thing is that it's a coaching staff that was here last year, understands what needs to happen moving forward, and got themselves in a good district. So I think with them, it's about getting things, making sure they're improving as the season wears along and getting themselves ready for that postseason. And I think as an athletic director, just like anybody who's in some form of a leadership role, it's about getting the right people in the right position. And if you were to ask me, do I have the right people in the right position? I would probably tell anybody, yes, I do. If you look at in terms of just conference championships won in the last, 4 to 5 years, you can go to cheerleading. They're bringing back championships. So I think just as an athletic director, it's made my job really, really easy, knowing that I've got great people in the right spots, and doing good things with our kids. That it's not always about hanging a banner. It's nice, but I think if you were to talk to those coaches and the kids when they leave, they're impacted in a great way just in terms of life and moving on past athletics. So, yeah, like you said, we've got great coaches, and I expect to have a great fall season for all of our varsity sports.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach. I appreciate your time. Look forward to doing this again with you sometime, not just talking about
Yeah.
golf, but as AD, and then as we head to basketball season. And the one thing I do want to mention, I really want to thank Coach Watson in his role as athletic director, because when I decided I'd like to start something and do this, he and the administration there at South Harrison, you guys have been great help, making sure I have a place to do things, making sure I have internet and different things. And so it's been great for me. I mean, I moved here 26 years ago and grew up in Albany, but I bleed purple now. All 3 of my kids go to school here. One graduated, one's getting ready to graduate. And so I love the Bulldogs and just the opportunity to advance the athletics and showcase everything you all are doing. I appreciate your help in that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to kind of partnership in this. And I think the cool thing for me as an athletic director is, you hear the interviews, but now all of our fans are going to get to see our coaches' faces and our expressions when we talk about our kids. We love our kids and we love our athletes. So we can't thank you guys enough for doing it, and we're excited to continue to keep on doing it. And go Bulldogs.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Coach, and we'll catch you again next time. And again, thanks to Harrison County Community Hospital, our sponsor here on Sports Central, and we will be live from an event very soon with you.